Tonight, a flurry of lawsuits. How many school divisions are named in a slew of sexual assault allegations filed this year? Also tonight, beyond capacity.
There is definitely concerns amongst our members about how many people and how over capacity our facilities are at this time.
As calls for bail reform grow, where exactly would Manitoba put all the inmates? Plus, burning to get the job done.
And it's neighbors protecting neighbors.
A look at some of the new wildfire prevention tools being put to work in southern Manitoba.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. School divisions across Manitoba are facing a barrage of litigation tonight. Dozens of former students have stepped forward alleging sexual and physical assault at a slew of schools across the province. And a warning to our viewers, some of you may find the details disturbing. CTV's Catherine Dow joins us now live in studio with more. Catherine, where did these alleged assaults happen?
So, Marilee, to recap here, there have been 27 civil suits filed against Manitoba school divisions in the past 6 months. Named as defendants are 14 different school divisions or boards. Now, according to the statements of claim, the alleged assaults happened between 1960 and 2016 in over 20 schools throughout Manitoba within the divisions listed there on your screen. The plaintiffs allege sexual and physical abuse by a number of employees, many of whom are named, including teachers, a teacher's assistant, a janitor, and principals. The suits claim 2 plaintiffs were as young as 5 years old when the alleged assaults occurred. The plaintiffs say the abuses resulted in physical pain, post-traumatic stress disorder, mental anguish, depression, anxiety, addiction, and more. The divisions and boards are accused of failing to screen or monitor the alleged perpetrators, failing to properly document, discipline, or terminate them, and failing to implement a reporting system. The suits claim the divisions and boards were negligent and failed in their duty of care to students enrolled in their schools. Now, each plaintiff is represented by the same personal injury law firm, which has not yet replied to our request for comment. The suits seek general, special, and punitive damages and costs. A reminder, none of these allegations have been tested in court.
All right, what about the divisions named as defendants in these suits? What are they saying about these disturbing allegations?
So as of today, the Saging Education Authority and Frontier School Division have filed statements of defense. Both are calling for the suits to be dismissed. We also reached out to each division for comment. The majority have responded by our deadline. All declined to comment on matters that are before the courts. Now, our digital team has been tracking the story and has an extensive story up on our website, delving further into some of these allegations. You can find those details at ctvnewswinnipeg.ca.
All right, thanks for this, Catherine.
You're welcome.
As pressure mounts to crack down on repeat offenders, the federal government is pledging to make it harder for violent criminals to get bail. That could see more offenders ending up behind bars, but there are questions as to where they would be housed. To explain, CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. Jeff, is there room in Manitoba jails for more inmates?
No, not really. According to provincial numbers, provincial jails are already overflowing, Marilee, so it raises the question, where would more inmates go? With violent crime and theft out of control, calls to keep repeat criminals behind bars are at a fever pitch.
Too much violence and disruption in our city is coming from the same individuals.
Arrests that our members are constantly arresting people for are breaches. We need to see meaningful bail reform.
The federal government is promising bail and sentencing reform legislation this fall. That could mean more offenders in custody and for longer terms. But numbers show Manitoba jails are already bursting at the seams. The capacity at Headingley Jail is 549, but as of September 18th, it was housing 843 inmates. The Winnipeg Remand Centre, a capacity of 289, has a count of 405. At Women's, 196 is the capacity, with 292 inmates there now. Brandon is over 2, a capacity of 252, with a head count of 341. The Paw has a capacity of 114, and 171 inmates are there. Milner Ridge is 6 inmates over capacity. Only the Manitoba Youth Centre was under, by 14. So if there is an influx of inmates, where would they go?
As we know, with the reforms that are being requested by the population of Canada and Manitoba, that we have to find a place.
The union representing Manitoba's correctional guard says it is raising this with Manitoba's justice minister.
So in the short term, we need a plan, because right now we're hearing loud and clear from our workers that it's getting volatile in there.
We do need to build capacity.
The NDP government has promised to build a new jail in Dauphin, which was closed by the former Pallister government. And Justice Minister Matt Wiebe says they are looking at all options, including within.
There is capacity in the system in ensuring that people are being moved around and being moved to those places that are safe.
It's not just provincial facilities. Manitoba's federal prison, Stony Mountain, is slightly over capacity too.
A lot of our prisons are on a great amount of land. We can build new units, we can retrofit units. Sometimes it doesn't need to be an entirely new project.
The former Dauphin jail held 61 inmates.
So, Jeff, what is the federal justice minister saying? Is the feds planning to build more prisons or expand them?
Yeah, we don't know. We reached out to the federal justice minister and asked for an interview. We were told he would not be available, but that we would get a response to our story, and we are still waiting on that statement, Marilee.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. A new sign posted near a rural Manitoba community is raising questions tonight. Residents say they were not warned about a First Nations claim to land near their homes, and now they're unsure what it means. CTV's Harrison Shin was in the area today.
The whole community is starting to talk about it, and no direction is being given.
Aaron Weave noticed this new sign Wednesday as he was driving to his home.
You can see probably the sign behind me here saying that we are trespassing if we are in this area fishing, hunting, or even accessing, and this is within 2 minutes of my house.
This no trespassing sign was put up by the Sacking First Nation, about 40 minutes away from here. It says prior approval of Sacking First Nation chief and council is needed to cross into the territory. Weeb says he contacted local, provincial, and Sacking First Nation government.
The local and provincial government won't give us any direction, Saging won't give us any direction, and the sign remains standing. So I don't know what to say or where to go from here on the matter.
Weeb isn't alone. Tyler Freedy provides septic tank services in the area.
I was just concerned of the accessing the property for trespassing reasons, because I service the community on a regular basis and I noticed no trespassing, so I reached out to the band office, and unfortunately I didn't get any detailed information.
The confusion is same with the area councillor Matt Kinghorn. In an email, Kinghorn said in part, quote, nobody advised the RM that the sign was being installed. I would like to give them some answers, but like them, I am still waiting for an answer. CTV News reached out to the Sacking First Nation, but no one was available for an interview. In a statement, Minister of Northern Relations Ian Bushy said, in part, quote, I continue to maintain an open dialogue with Chief Fontaine and leadership in Sacking First Nation to support responsible wildlife management and respect for treaty rights. Weeb says while he understands why the sign was put up, he wants some clarity.
This is both sides that need to come together on this and figure out these issues, and the fact that nobody's dealt with the sign, nobody can answer questions to the residents what this means, it just leaves us kind of in confusion.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Armov Alexander.
A city park may soon be renamed in honor of a Nobel Prize-winning Winnipegger. James Peebles won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 2019 for his discoveries of the physical processes of the early universe. It laid the groundwork for theories of dark matter and the cosmic microwave background. Peebles grew up in St. Boniface and graduated from St. Vitel's Glenlawn Collegiate. Councillor Brian Mays says it makes sense to rename Carrier Avenue Park in his honor as it straddles both neighborhoods.
So we discovered this guy who's a Nobel winner, grew up in St. Boniface and then went to Glenlawn and U of M, and then best job title in the world, Albert Einstein Professor of Science at Princeton University. Like, fantastic. So cool guy. I have talked to this guy a couple of times. Very honored to have the street. We were going to do a street, now we're doing a park.
City Council will consider the motion Thursday. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at our weekend Skywatch forecast. Judging by the map behind you, it's off to a soggy start.
You could say that for sure. For much of southern Manitoba, we have this low pressure system that's actually still well to the south of us, but lobbing all this rain northward over the international border. And throughout the day, we've seen this rain travel slowly further and further north, seeing rain as far west as Brandon, Winnipeg, right in the crosshairs there. And you can see we get these little breaks here and there, but don't be fooled. There's an awful lot of rain yet to come in behind what's falling right now on our side of the international border. I'll show you that. And just how much is expected to fall and just whether or not this whole weekend will be a wash, and a look ahead to the start of fall. Well, let's try to look through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Well, you can see it's raining in the city by that shot for sure. 16 degrees, winds out of the east-northeast at 10 kilometers an hour. The pressure's dropping and the humidity right now merrily is 96%.
Thanks, Colleen. Winnipeg police are looking for a person of interest in a shooting in the Exchange District. It happened August 2nd on Princess Street, and police say there was a confrontation between two groups of people and someone fired a gun. Well, no one was hurt. Today, the Major Crimes Unit released these images of a person of interest in the case. If you can help police find this person, you're asked to call the Major Crimes Unit or Crime Stoppers. It didn't take long for Winnipeg police officers to start making arrests while patrolling transit buses. Wednesday, the city announced a plan to put officers on buses, and that very same day, police made 2 arrests. Both happened at the Unicity Transit Hub on Portage Avenue. Police say officers arrested a shoplifter who was trying to use a bus as a getaway vehicle. Then later that day, officers arrested a man for smashing a transit bus window with his elbow. Police say the suspect was carrying flammable liquid and a lighter, which breached a release order. Both suspects were charged and detained in custody. Uniformed and plainclothes police officers will be patrolling buses and shelters for the rest of the year. A group of volunteers in a southern community are pitching prescribed burn associations as a technique to prevent wildfires. CTV's Danton Unger gives us a look at the tools they plan to use to fight fire with fire.
You just take the wand and then back and forth, and you squirt water everywhere.
Armed with water packs, drip torches, and fire flappers, these are the tools the Stuart Burn Prescribed Burn Association will use to protect its community from wildfires.
Everybody kind of thinks, especially with a year like we've had this year, that fire is bad. But the truth is, this land has always burnt, and it has burnt since the beginning of time.
Bert Baumgartner is the president of the volunteer-based association, the only one of its kind in Manitoba. Its goal to curb wildfires using carefully planned prescribed burns.
All that grass, the sticks, branches, dead trees, we're burning that off in a controlled manner so that when Mother Nature does decide to have her own fire, there isn't that volume of fuel.
The association, along with the rural municipality, recently received a $116,000 grant from Intact Insurance for equipment and training. And on Thursday, community members and neighboring municipalities were invited to the association's official launch.
I was curious how the prescribed burn was working.
Piney councillor Ken Prosy was among the visitors. His southern community suffered a major wildfire earlier this year, forcing hundreds of people to evacuate their homes.
We lost, I believe, 5 structures, and the majority of them were in areas where they were like hunting cabins.
Stuart Burn Reeve Michelle Goronsky says given this past wildfire season, she believes associations like this could make a difference.
In my heart of hearts, I know that this is the way forward to be able to be proactive, to make sure that we are doing fire guards around our communities and around farms and around people's homes, their livelihoods.
She plans to take the idea to the legislature, meeting with Manitoba's Minister of Natural Resources in the coming weeks. Danton Unger, CTV News, Stuart Burn.
Kids across the province are falling back into their school routines, which often means sitting in a classroom to learn about reading, writing, and arithmetic, but not always. This is a case in point. This is an outdoor classroom in St. George Park, and it's here for the use of the kindergarten to grade 6 students at nearby St. George School. St. Vital councillor Brian Mays used $65,000 from his Wardland Dedication Reserve budget to help fund the project. Students from the school say it will help them to learn more about the importance of the environment.
We appreciate the opportunity to get out of our classrooms and learn outside. It lets us explore, ask questions, think critically, and notice the world around us. This helps us remember, connect, and understand more deeply.
School division officials say outdoor classrooms give children an opportunity to learn in ways beyond the traditional classroom experience. The province says safety improvements are coming to a major stretch of highway between Winnipeg and Gimli. It's planning to add 4 sets of passing lanes on Highway 6 between Highway 67 and the town of Gimli. Each passing lane will be about 2 kilometers long. The project has an estimated budget of $18.3 million and is expected to wrap up next fall. A historic building with deep ties to our province's beginnings is in shambles. The once prominent Henderson House sits fenced off in a provincial park, and its future is in doubt. CTV's Daniel Helmerson explains.
And now the door is wide open. Like that wasn't the case. First started coming here.
In disrepair and left to rot, that's how historian Jim Smith describes this building, a piece of Northeast Winnipeg history, falling to pieces at a provincial park south of the city.
Totally disgusted. And it's such a shame, you know, what I've had to come to terms with it, and basically that nothing's going to be done. It'll just fall apart.
Henderson House is a remnant of the Selkirk settler era and one of the oldest homes in Manitoba. It was built in the 1850s by fur trader Samuel R. Henderson.
Henderson Highway is named after them, after the family. John Henderson Middle School, Henderson Library.
The home stood at 2012 Henderson Highway until the late 1970s when the owner at the time decided he wanted to demolish it. That's when the province stepped in and moved it to St. Norbert Heritage Park.
It was moved here supposedly to be repaired and then somehow moved back to the area. And this was in '79, and it's been 46 years since then.
A 1979 news release states the province accepted responsibility for its restoration over time, but Jim Smith says very little work has been done to fix Henderson House.
It doesn't matter whether it's been Conservative or NDP, neither one of them has done anything. It's just basically been neglected.
In a statement, Mike Moyes, the minister responsible for parks, says, "We will work with local historians, heritage experts, and the community to determine priorities and the best path forward for protecting our heritage." Smith still holds out hope Henderson House could be restored and eventually return to its rightful place in Northeast Winnipeg.
I'm hoping that sometime in the future, more and more people then will appreciate this stuff. But by that time, it may be too late.
Daniel Helmerson, CTV News, St. Norbert.
Still ahead, targeted by tariffs, Canada and Mexico sign a pact to stand together.
Every 3 months, there will be an accountability mechanism.
How the two countries plan to cooperate as the United States ramps up requests for trade changes. Plus, how Winnipeg's Canadian Ukrainian Athletic Club is marking a milestone anniversary. That's next.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Winnipeg, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil lost 86 cents. The Canadian dollar inched up. Gold gained $27. The TSX added 314 points. The Dow Jones rose 172 points, while the Nasdaq finished the day 160 points higher. New court documents say Hudson's Bay will ask court permission to auction off its historic charter after more parties came forward. The company announced plans to sell the artifact to the Weston family for $12.5 million. The Westons plan to donate the more than 350-year-old document to the Canadian Museum of History near Ottawa. But a holding company owned by David Thompson said he was willing to spend at least $15 million to buy the document and donate it to the archives of Manitoba. Canada and Mexico have agreed to a strategic partnership vowing deeper ties in the face of Donald Trump's trade war. The U.S. is expected to make major demands during renegotiations of the trilateral trade agreement known as CUSMA. CTV's Judy Trin has the details from Mexico.
Look at that Pride of Canada right there.
Prairie wheat being offloaded from a Canadian train in Mexico. A choreographed moment to emphasize how improving rail lines, ports, and pipelines can lead to economic growth in both countries. The Prime Minister's strategic partnership with President Claudia Sheinbaum aims to boost trade with Mexico. The results will be tracked.
Every 3 months, there will be an accountability mechanism for us to reconvene with Mexico, and in particular, the ministers responsible for the various items in the action plan.
The plan also calls for more cooperation in fighting drug cartels and human trafficking. But analysts say this meeting was more about concerns that the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement is unraveling.
It really is about making sure that we're singing from the same songbook and that Mexico and Canada are not going to get played off of one another.
This after some troubled trade history. During the first Trump administration, Mexico signed a side deal that threatened a North American agreement. But these two leaders say they're committed to negotiating a continental agreement.
CUSMA, USMCA, is strength together. It's strength of the three countries together.
Now, after the U.S. launched public consultations, Canada is doing the same.
Formally, the beginning of the Canadian consultative process with Canadian industry, businesses, workers.
In the meantime, LeBlanc will be visiting Washington in the next few weeks to continue trade talks. He'll also be leading a trade mission to Mexico in the near future. All this as CUSMA is set to expire in June 2026. Judy Trin, CTV News, Mexico City.
The Liberal government has tabled its first legislation of the fall session of Parliament aimed at protecting communities against hate crimes by expanding federal hate laws. Crimes against religious groups in particular have been on the rise. CTV's Abigail Beeman tells us what's in the bill.
The flames went up the door.
Cantor Henry Topaz's Montreal synagogue has been firebombed twice since the Hamas terror attack of October 7th, 2023. He says the government's new hate crime bill is a step in the right direction.
The idea of vulnerable infrastructure, notably houses of worship, are now more protected than they ever have been before. Tabling of documents.
Bill C-2 has 4 new hate-related criminal offenses, including making it a crime to promote hate against an identifiable group through symbols, including a swastika and those from designated terror groups, making hate-motivated crime a specific offense, and making it a crime to obstruct or intimidate people trying to access places of worship and other places like schools used by an identifiable group.
The prevalence of hate crimes in this country that steal those freedoms are something that should shock the conscience of every Canadian.
Statistics Canada shows police-reported hate crimes targeting religion have been on the rise, largely due to attacks on Jews and Muslims. In 2024, there were 229 Islamophobic attacks and 920 anti-Semitic.
The application of it is going to be really important to make sure that the right balance is struck between, making sure that Canadians still have, the basic ability to express themselves, and we're maintaining civil liberties.
The Justice Minister says that balance was top of mind when crafting the new bill. It's not clear yet what support this minority government may get from other parties as this bill moves its way through the House. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
RCMP will resume searching for 2 children who went missing in rural Nova Scotia more than 4 months ago. 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan were reported missing May 2nd from their home in Lansdowne Station. Cadaver dogs will be deployed to try to pick up their scent, a step the children's grandmother said should have happened months ago. Police have already conducted multiple searches for the children in the heavily wooded area near their home. Overseas, Estonia will start consultations with its NATO allies after Russian fighter jets violated its airspace today. 3 aircraft spent 12 minutes over the Baltic country in what the government described as an unprecedented brazen incursion. Italian Air Force jets in the region, as part of a NATO policing mission, responded to the incident. Estonia summoned a Russian diplomat in protest. It was the 4th time Moscow has violated Estonian airspace this year. Other alliance countries have reported similar incursions. Just over a week ago, NATO planes downed Russian drones over Poland. Back here in Winnipeg, a local club is marking a major milestone in an entire century in our community. And tonight, the Canadian Ukrainian Athletic Club is going to celebrate. For 100 years, the Canadian Ukrainian Athletic Club has been a place for Winnipeg Ukrainian families to gather and share their love of sport and cultural identity. It was formed back in 1925 to promote sports among Ukrainian youth in our city. And in the decades that followed, that's exactly what it's done.
They established in 1925, and what they encouraged was youth to get involved in their community. And we did. And it was wonderful. The volunteers, the coaches, and what it gave us.
Tonight, starting at 7, there will be a major celebration at Sinclair Park Community Center with 200 alumni attending. We're also told Mayor Scott Gillingham and other dignitaries, including the Rusalka dancers, will all be there. Taking the ice, the Winnipeg Jets are preparing for a new season. How you can get to meet them in person.
The second half of the weekend starts off dry but cloudy Sunday morning. More of a mix of sun and cloud in the afternoon on the final day of summer, 21 degrees. Then Monday, we vacillate between sunshine and a mix of sun and cloud, very warm, 23. The autumnal equinox happens at 1:19 p.m. Central Time, in case you were wondering. And then look at the midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, lots of sunshine, very warm highs in the mid-20s.
The Winnipeg Jets season is about to begin. This week, players took to the ice for training camp, and some young fans were there to watch their favorites in action.
One at a time, who did you come here to see?
Kyle Connor, Mark Shafley, Hellebuck, Mark Shafley.
Those cheers say it all. They got their wish. Veteran players and newcomers were skating and doing drills today at the Hockey for All Center in West Winnipeg. All are competing for a spot on the starting roster. Training camp includes Jets Fan Fest, where you can meet your favorite players in person. That's happening tomorrow at the Hockey for All Center. The players will get their first real test on Sunday when the Jets play its first preseason game against the Minnesota Wild at Canada Life Centre at 4 o'clock. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers pay a visit to Ottawa tomorrow afternoon to face the Red Blacks. The Bombers hope to snap a 3-game losing skid and improve its 6-7 record. Ottawa sits right now at 4-9. Its last encounter in Winnipeg during Week 11 ended with the Bombers on top 30-27. Winnipeg QB Zach Caleros was in full gear at practice Tuesday, but his level of participation remained unclear. The 37-year-old quarterback missed the team's loss to the Hamilton Tiger Cats September 12th. Game time tomorrow is 2 o'clock Manitoba time on TSN. An amazing victory today for Canada's women's rugby team.
Can you believe it? Canada 34, New Zealand 19. Canada are going to the gold medal Rugby World Cup final.
That's right. Canada held off a late rally by New Zealand to make the final of the Women's Rugby World Cup. That will take place next Saturday in London. The team will play the winner of tomorrow's semifinal between England and France. And as we told you earlier this week, forward Emily Titosi, who hails from Souris, Manitoba, is helping that Canadian team on its quest for gold.
Can you believe it?
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with your complete Skywatch forecast. And as you mentioned earlier, fall officially is arriving very soon.
Yes.
And you know, I've already started to notice how dark it is.
That's
when
right.
we leave here and in the morning, and we haven't even changed the clocks yet.
No, we haven't even got to that yet, but the leaves are definitely turning. And now, Marilee, the rain is falling, courtesy of an upper low that's still well to the south of us, really spinning around over the Dakotas and Wisconsin, but still lobbing all this rain showers activity up on our side of the international border. Winnipeg and the surrounding areas tonight, we're really in the crosshairs of this. We'll get about 10 to 15 millimeters tonight, and then maybe another 5-10 millimeters tomorrow. But you can see we do get some breaks here and there coming in towards us, but there's a lot more where that rain came from. Again, you can see the center of that low well south of us in the U.S., but still sending all that rain through the Dakotas, back through Minnesota, and back up into northwestern Ontario and here into southern Manitoba. But this is what I'm talking about. You can see how intense that rain is, really right through the Red River Valley there as we get into the overnight hours. Meanwhile, an upper ridge of high pressure is keeping the skies relatively clear across much of the north, although watch for fog patches developing again overnight in many areas in the northern half of the province, as well as parts of the south. But even Saturday morning, still that very strong band of rain sort of squarely right over Winnipeg and the Red River Valley, wrapping back into northern Ontario. So again, about another 5-10 millimeters is expected as the rain continues throughout the day, and it should wrap up either late tomorrow afternoon or early evening for our region. But you can see it does push further east into northwestern Ontario, but in behind some clearing. You'll get lots of sunshine tomorrow in the northern half of the province and parts of the southwest as well. Then we get overnight into into Sunday, and you can see significant clearing for most areas. Not so much for us here in the southeastern and northwestern Ontario, but as we get into the afternoon, we'll start to see some of that sun shining here as well on that last day of summer. For tonight, for Winnipeg, 10 to 15 millimeters of rain is possible. You'll be waking up to rain tomorrow morning or some light showers, 18 degrees up 1, and then the temperature really holding fairly steady throughout the day. Our UV index for Saturday is 2 or low. We head up into the north tonight, increasing cloud as we go throughout the night for most areas in the northeast. Overnight lows between 9 and 12 degrees. Now Thompson down to 7. There's an outside chance of showers there for you tonight, but bright and sunny in Thompson tomorrow, up to 21 degrees. But you see all the way up to Churchill, quite warm, 19 degrees there for Saturday. In the northwest tonight, fog overnight. Otherwise, slight chance of showers both tonight and tomorrow for Norway House, getting to 20 there. 21, 22 degrees for the rest of the northwest with lots of sunshine. In the southwest tonight, some rain continuing for Brandon and Neepawa, although some drizzle reporting in Brandon right now, down to 12 there. Watch for fog around the region overnight, and then another round of rain is likely for places like Neepawa and Brandon tomorrow, with those highs in the upper teens, low 20s. Now Winnipeg in the southeast, that rain will continue throughout the night. Overnight lows between 13 and 15. Temperatures not moving much tomorrow, with showers continuing throughout the day. And in northwestern Ontario, showers for you as well, with the possibility of thunderstorms in Fort Frances. That continues tomorrow with highs of 18 and 19 degrees. Now Claudette says bye-bye summer, hello fall, up at Sandy Hook, Manitoba. Great shot there in this next one. Take a look at the stunning colors of this sunrise. This was over Hecla Grindstone Provincial Park, also in the Interlake. That photo is from Amanda. Send us yours by email to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
It can be taking a toll on the heart silently.
It can lead to serious, sometimes fatal health complications, yet many people never know they have it. How to listen to your heart and spot the signs of atrial fibrillation, next in Medical Watch. A landmark mission to the Arctic's last ice area is underway, and a Manitoba scientist is part of the team hoping to unlock some of the area's secrets. David Babb is a sea ice scientist at the U of M and is currently on board Canada's icebreaker research vessel, the Edmondson. He joins us now live from there to talk more about his mission. David, good to speak with you.
Hi, Marilee. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm curious to hear more about the area you're currently in, because it's pretty unique, isn't it?
Yeah, so if you look at a map of Canada, we are all the way about as far north as you can go in Canada. We're up at about 80 degrees north, sailing through an area that's known as the Queen Elizabeth Islands. It's a very remote area. It's a couple 100 kilometers north of the nearest community. And yeah, this area has historically been inaccessible to ships. And so we are the first sort of scientific mission to cover these waters, and we're spending 4 weeks up here.
I'm guessing it's inaccessible because I understand this area is known as a place where the ice never melts. Just how cold is it there?
Yeah, right now it's about -10 today. We've already had a few snowstorms. We're preparing for a blizzard early next week, so a little bit different than what it's like in Winnipeg at this time of year.
All right. You are one of 37 scientists taking part in this mission. Tell us a bit about what you're all doing there.
Yeah, so the Amundsen is a research icebreaker that is run by the Canadian Coast Guard, and it has never worked in this area before. The Amundsen spends about 5 months every summer doing research across the Canadian Arctic, so all the way from James Bay, Hudson Bay to the Beaufort Sea, through Baffin Bay. It works near Inuit communities. It does a whole bunch of work across the Arctic, and it's never been here. And so this year, a group from the University of Manitoba and the Department of Fisheries and Oceans Canada are leading a leg, which is 28 days on board the ship, and like you said, 37 scientists. And we are trying to provide a baseline survey of this area. So we are studying everything from the sediments at the bottom of the sea floor, everything through the water column, the sea ice that's at the top, and are also focusing on the glaciers in the area as well that, of course, discharge water into the waterways.
What are you hoping to learn from the data you collect?
Yeah, this area is really a gap in our understanding of the Canadian Arctic. We know bits and pieces from satellites and various winter campaigns that people have run over the years, but we just really don't know what is happening in this area. And so we're trying to fill in that gap and explore some new areas. Part of the area has been deemed a marine protected area by the Canadian government, and so we're trying to provide baseline observations for that marine protected area. And also this area is home to what we call the last ice. So this is where the thickest ice in the Arctic Ocean accumulates every year. And as a result of those processes, this area is going to be home to the last ice in a warming Arctic. So this is where sea ice, and specifically the habitat that sea ice provides to ice-dependent species in the Arctic, this is where that habitat is going to remain in place. And so we're trying to understand that ice and sort of guide some of these projections on what the future has in store for this area.
All right, very important research clearly being done. You're about halfway through this expedition. I'm curious what the experience has been like for you, and maybe what stands out the most so far.
I think the takeaway so far has been the breathtaking size of the glaciers in the area. We're currently spending the day in front of a glacier known as Cannon Glacier. This is the third glacier that we visited on this trip. And as a sea ice scientist, I spend a lot of time on ships and in helicopters landing on sea ice that's just a few meters thick. These glaciers are gigantic. They're standing 20 meters above the waterline, which means they extend for, potentially hundreds of meters below the waterline. It's quite remarkable to see.
Speaking of remarkable, your team has sent us some amazing photos and videos of the work you're doing there. And one photo in particular stood out to me. A creature I didn't even know exists, which is called a sea angel. We're looking at photos of it right now. I guess this is just part of some of the environment that you're dealing with and some of the unique creatures that call it home.
Yeah, one of the things that the ship does is we tow quite a few different nets. We try to characterize the species that are present in the area. And, these are things that you can't observe unless you're actually here on the water, getting your hands wet. So yeah, this is one of the big outcomes from this cruise, is understanding exactly what is living in the water here.
Well, David, it is fascinating research. I want to thank you for sharing it with us. And for all those watching, you can follow David and his team live online at data.admonson.ulaval.ca. David, good luck on the rest of your work. Can't wait to hear and see what else you guys dig up.
Great. Thank you very much, Marilee.
The province is expanding its online medical appointment booking portal. You can now use MediNav to book same-day appointments at Selkirk and Steinbach quick care clinics. Other locations you can already book appointments at include walk-in, connected care clinics, extended hours, primary care clinics, and minor injury clinics. You can view and book appointments by visiting medinav.ca. September is Atrial Fibrillation Awareness Month. It's the most common type of treated heart arrhythmia, and although it can lead to serious and potentially deadly health problems, many people don't know they have it.
If someone is having AFib and they don't know about it, it can be taking a toll on the heart silently.
That's great.
AFib happens when a person's heartbeat becomes irregular and rapid. In the U.S., it's the cause of about 1 in every 7 strokes. Warning signs of AFib include irregular heartbeat, heart palpitations, lightheadedness, extreme fatigue, shortness of breath, and chest pain. Experts say AFib gets progressively worse, so early diagnosis and treatment is key.
It's not the end of the world. We've got a lot of different treatment options available to you. And the most important thing is don't ignore it.
Some people don't show symptoms at all, so it's important to know if you're at high risk. Factors include advanced age, high blood pressure, obesity, European ancestry, diabetes, and lifestyle choices like moderate to heavy alcohol use and smoking.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
It's a place to come just to celebrate these amazing creatures.
Barking up the right tree, how you can treat your canine companions at Barkfest.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Gord Bamford.
Well, this weekend we'll be going to the dogs. Barkfest, the ultimate dog party, is celebrating everything canine.
if you have dogs, even if you don't have dogs, it's a place to come just to celebrate these amazing creatures. Basically, it's an indoor market with activities and an outdoor festival all in one. And dogs are such an important part of people's lives, and we're so excited to give people a chance to celebrate how amazing dogs are.
There will be plenty of activities for dogs and humans, too. Barkfest features more than 100 vendors featuring dog clothing, accessories, and food. There's a vet on hand to answer your pet health questions as well. And there's even a dog spa, so your dog can get a nail trim. Proceeds go to 3 local animal rescue centers. Barkfest takes place at Red River X Park Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 5. Get tickets online or at the door. Visit barkfestmb.ca. And another huge party will be happening in St. Vital on Saturday. It's called Free the Spirit Festival, and it's St. Amant Center's largest fundraiser of the year.
It's not just for the people we support. It's this really beautiful thing where individuals we support, staff members, and actually the entire neighborhood. It's open to the public. Everybody comes down, and there are all kinds of fun activities that are completely free for families to do that day.
St. Amant helps thousands of people with developmental disabilities, autism, and brain injuries. There will be live music, an aerialist, and a barbecue, plus a fundraising walk and run. Last year's festival raised $122,000, which helped St. Amant purchase a van for its respite home. Free the Spirit Festival gets underway Saturday at St. Amant Center at 440 River Road from 10 till 2, rain or shine. But I can tell you it's probably going to rain, so just be prepared for that. Don't let that stop you from going out to that great event. They're quite possibly the cutest creatures at Assiniboine Park Zoo, and this weekend you can learn all about them. Red Panda Weekend runs Saturday and Sunday in celebration of International Red Panda Day. Between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. both days, you'll find a large tent on the west side of the zoo with plenty of Red Panda-themed activities, souvenirs, and learning opportunities. Red pandas are native to mountainous forest areas of Asia, such as Nepal, India, and Bhutan. They are considered endangered, with fewer than 2,500 of the friendly animals left in the wild. An upcoming event at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights is putting a spotlight on the dark reality of human trafficking in Canada.
I just thought that's what falling in love was. They get trafficked.
The museum will be screening the 2025 documentary Butterfly Into the Maze of Human Trafficking. Afterwards, you'll get to hear a panel discussion featuring a trafficking survivor from Winnipeg, the filmmaker, and others. The event is happening October 1st at 6 p.m. It is free, but you will need to register ahead of time by visiting eventcamp.ca. A new program hopes to get more people from underrepresented communities in Manitoba's growing film industry. Go.
This program is excellent and is going to support so many different Manitobans who would normally not have access to these types of business opportunities.
From Film Training Manitoba, it's called the Northern and Diverse Creators Program. 12 master classes will be offered throughout Manitoba, including in Churchill. That one is instructed by Emmy winner and Oscar-nominated documentary filmmaker Rory Kennedy. Training is open to 220 people, specifically women, people who live in Northern and Indigenous communities, and people in the Black and 2 LGBTQ+ communities. The program is also welcoming new Canadians from Ukraine.
By giving newcomers success to training and mentorship, you help them not just rebuild their lives, but also enrich Manitoba's cultural landscape.
Film Training Manitoba is working with the Documentary Organization of Canada on the program with funding from the Canadian Media Fund. Well, coming up tonight, catch the CTV movie Avengers Endgame. The film wraps a major chapter in the MCU as the remaining Avengers reunite in a final stand against Thanos. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Normal high for this time of year for Winnipeg is 17, and that was our highest temperature for today. The rain will continue tonight. Rain or light showers down to 14. More rain and showers to come throughout the day on Saturday. 18 degrees, mix of sun and cloud on Sunday, the last day of summer, and merrily a very warm start to fall next week.
Thanks, Colleen. Batman and Superman have teamed up to fight the forces of evil, and they're battling it out right here in Winnipeg on the side of a building. These Lego superhero characters are part of a new mural by artist Rachel Lancaster. It's on the side of a building on Watt Street, and the theme works because one of the stores inside sells and trades Lego. Now, in addition to the Lego characters, Rachel Lancaster says she worked in a tribute to another artist who often paints outdoors.
The little heart that the Star Wars guy is holding, that's a little nod to Banksy. That's why it's painted with the brick looking. Yeah, and you see some of the Banksy ones with the little balloon. So that's why we did the Lego version of Banksy.
Lancaster says it took her about 15 hours to paint this piece. You can check it out for yourself in person at the House of Local, which is located at 680 Watt Street. Looks great.
Very
good
cool.
work.
Yes.
All right. Have a great weekend. That does it for us tonight. Hope to see you back here Monday.